study that is glorified towards me. You're not going to sit down for 40 minutes or an hour and listen to Chris pump me up as his coach. What I want you to actually do is take your notebook. I'm going to have mine and take notes, because I'm going to cue Chris with questions that are going to give you insights towards your coaching, your business, and how to grow it. Through it, he's going to give you what's been working for him, what's been performing really well. And just for some stats, so you know, Chris last month broke approximately 13.5K in 6 weeks. Chris went from 24 to 11.4 thousand YouTube subscribers. Chris performed some pretty cool things. He has given, I think this year, how many speeches, public speeches?
I would say 7 or 8 maybe this year.
7 or 8.
Yeah.
And at the same time, he took his family on 3 trips, and now the 4th coming soon. So he's going to give you the insights that he has collected from working together on the things that have worked for him. So take them, take notes, and implement them. The second thing that I want to say is I cannot take any credit for anything that Chris has done. I guided him, but he is the man who took action, a lot of action. He exceeded my expectations with the actions. So with that out of the way, welcome, Chris. How are you? Please, just as a quick introduction before we go into the meat of things, tell us who you are, what do you do, and we'll take it on from there. And I cue you with specific questions. We'll dive deep into the cool shit.
Nice, sounds good. So my name is Chris. I'm based in the UK, and I would say that I call myself a subconscious coach, and the name's changed quite a lot as I've tried to define my market, over the last few years. But I'm a subconscious coach and consultant, working with entrepreneurs who are stuck in self-sabotage, overthinking, and getting in their own way. And I show them ultimately how to unleash the full potential.
Nice, man. It took us a while to get to this thing. Yeah. I remember early on when we were talking, and you're like, I do this and I do that and I do this, and people come to me for that, and people come to me for that. And what do you think happened there, where you stopped going from one thing to another, attracting different people from different sides, to putting your flag in the ground and being like, this is what I want to do?
Yeah, man. I'm going to keep referring back to your work, obviously, because it's been so important. And I don't want to, like I said at the beginning, I don't want to big it up all the time, but it's true. Like, we found that I can't be everything to everybody. And over the last few years, I was trying to deal with one thing, and then someone would come to me and I'd be like, yeah, I can sort that out for you. I can sort that out for you as well. And I was getting pulled from pillar to post, and my messaging just went down the pan, because I rely on social media. I rely on YouTube nowadays, and no one understood my message, because like I was doing so many things at once. Even I didn't know what I was doing. And it helped me get experience in different areas, but we needed to narrow it down. We needed to target specifically and find my perfect clients. And obviously, I saw that in you as one part. I worked together, and that's what we worked on heavily, over the last few months, weeks and months.
Yeah, I think one of the cool things that you have done is, I remember you were sick of people who used to book with you, weren't qualified, but at the same time they used to book with you, pay you $100 per session or something like that. And I remember once stuff started to get more dialed in, even the people who use it to want one session with you right now are booking $450 per session. So they're giving you $450 per one session. But even now, like a couple of days ago, you messaged me and you're like, oh, another £500 per week client. So that's £2,000 per month. So do you feel that this narrowing down, or just targeting people who we want to work with, strong boundaries, understanding them, understanding the market, speaking to this market, helped create this transformation going from cheap sessions to very cool and expensive sessions and generating higher ticket people.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Now, I would say it's over 50% of the work. Obviously, there's other things to take into account, but that has been a massive shift. I guess the other shift is I've got the knowledge, I'm good at what I do. You know, I've had some great transformations, but how I was perceived online, how I positioned myself online, I didn't know what I was doing. And I started quite a few years ago now, and it was a bit quite scattergun approach. And I think by changing how I'm perceived online, showing that I do have the knowledge, and getting the right people is like, you know, a triple combination of what I needed to do. So then the people who were paying, at the end of the day, the way I view it is, I wanted, when I first started out, to charge, I don't know, £100 a session, £100 a session. And I'd try and do 5 or 6 sessions a day, and it nearly killed me. You know, it's impossible to give, to give that amount of energy, because that's what I do. I give my all to everything that I do, you know, in terms of sessions. Or I thought to myself, oh, then this doesn't make sense. I would rather charge way more, give my expertise and give my energy properly, than try and, you know, fill like, you know, my calendar with. Don't get me wrong, the people were amazing, but there's lots of, you know, details involved, and the price difference was quite a big one.
Yeah. Tell me more about that. When you were actually, let me give you the exact situation. I remember one time when we spoke in the initial 1 or 2 calls together. You were like, Arnav, I did this, and then I did that, and I tried this, and I tried that, and you tried so many different things over the past, I would say, 3 years right now, and this is the 4th, I think, if I'm not right, correct me. But and now you mentioned that you didn't know how to position yourself, and that was burning you out a little bit. So can we talk a little bit about that? Because I know that this is going to be relevant to a lot of people watching, where there's so much noise, so many strategies, so many ideas, so much being thrown out in this market, that people feel like you felt at the end of the day, where it's like, well, what the fuck am I doing? Where am I going? So like, talk about that a little bit, because it's pretty important.
Yeah, I think you'll remember every time I got on a call with you right at the start, you'd say, oh, what's up? And I'd be like, I'm frustrated. I'm really frustrated.
This world.
Yeah. And I could not figure out. And to be openly honest, you know, I joined you thinking, oh, Arnold's going to solve my problems overnight. And of course, we're being open and honest here, and it couldn't be overnight, because I had so much to work on that we had to go literally from scratch. And the frustration I went through, knowing I knew my trade inside out. And don't get me wrong, I was selling. I've worked with a few hundred people, 200 or 300 people by the time we met. So, and I was selling, but it wasn't the right people. It wasn't what I really wanted to do, and it wasn't at the price point that that I needed it at, not wanted it at. It's not just about the money. It's about my sanity, my health, you know, and it's lifestyle. That's what I want. No, that's what I've been aiming towards. So I needed to get rid of that frustration. Knowing that I could help people, knowing that I can do the job, but not being able to find them, get to them, whatever you want to call it, reach them.
Yeah. I remember you said that I couldn't speak to them, resonate with them.
Yeah. I thought when you go through school, you think you know how to write, you know, and I thought, oh, all my posts are brilliant. Everyone understands what I mean, you know.
I remember this. Keep on going.
Oh my God. And then we started doing sessions together, and I'd send you my posts. I'm thinking, oh, he's going to love it straight away. He's going to say, oh, this is amazing, Chris, carry on. And every single time you put a cross through it, and you're like, we need to start. We need to start again. You know, like, and that was honestly, it's soul destroying, but it's what I needed at that time. I needed to hear, you are not doing it right for what you need. I needed to be told, you've got to change this, otherwise you're going to carry on the same way. At the end of the day, we carry on doing the same things and we're going to get the same results over and over again. You know, old Einstein. But I knew something had to change. I didn't know what. And it can be a bit of a hit to the ego. You think you're writing brilliantly. You think everyone understands you. But you also know that they don't. Back of your mind, you're thinking, something's not resonating. I don't know why. It can't be me. It must be there.
Yeah, yeah, man. I remember one time in the group channel, I welcomed a new member and I gave him public feedback, and you commented and you were like, "Oh, don't worry, he destroys us all, so don't worry."
Oh man,
But
yeah.
do you feel that this type of feedback, because it's important for me to know, most importantly for me, this kind of a selfish question,
Mm.
but do you feel that this type of feedback um, served more than the buttered feedback, do you think?
Oh, I 100% needed it.
Yeah.
Whether everyone can depends on people's egos. I think if some people came along and you said, no, this is wrong, yes, some people might think, no, retaliate, not retaliate, but stand up for themselves. But I understood that I needed showing. I understood. I've done a lot of self-development work anyway, so I understood that I needed help. Whereas some people might think, oh, he's destroying all my work. But that's their problem, not yours. You're there to show them what needs to be done, not what they want to do.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's an actual pretty good point, man. Can you tell us a little bit more, like, through this journey of transformation, what are some of the biggest insights? Like, you went literally, like, I remember now talking about the frustration. I remember even on our private messaging, and every time you were like, I'm frustrated, and I sent you voice notes, I'm like, don't you think that this is why you're not moving and everything? So you went literally from a guy who was frustrated with everything to now, man, I'm gonna be very honest, and I've never shared that publicly, so now here you go. I get excited when you send me a message. And like, I know that something is happening because this guy is in such great momentum that I'm excited to open up, reply to your questions, and you have a completely different fucking energy to you. So, like, what happened? What are some of the insights that really were the big needle movers for you?
Honestly, man, I do this work day in, day out. I talk about energy with my clients. I talk about emotions and how emotions are trapped and how how it affects us. Yet, quite often, a coach needs a coach to show us what we're doing to ourselves. And I see it in everybody else, and I just couldn't see it in myself. And we looked at a lot of things, and one of the major things that came up was that I was tied to the outcome every single time. My energy was literally, I wouldn't say it wasn't my self-worth, because I know worth now. I know what I can do and what I can't do. So it wasn't self-worth. It was just, I need this to work. This really needs to work. I need this outcome. And ultimately, if we look at cause and effect, we can't control the effect. We can take the action, and we can't control the outcome. We can stack things in our favor. We can take the action. We can make the YouTube videos. We can research, and we can resonate. But the biggest thing, well, one of my biggest takeaways is that I can't control the outcome, and I was desperately clinging on to it, and that's where the frustration was coming, because I so desperately wanted to. And like, the second you realize, and yeah, it takes some work as well. You know, it's not necessarily overnight, but nowadays, I say nowadays, it's been like a few months, but nowadays it's like I don't care. You know, like if it works, it works. Amazing. If it doesn't, then we go again. Yeah, exactly. And what obviously one of my biggest learnings from you is a lot of things won't work. And we take the experience, we take the lesson, we change it, and we don't. And again, another lesson is we don't change everything. We might put an offer out, what works for some people, and then another offer, what's similar, might not work at all. And you're left scratching your head thinking, is it the offer? And it could be the timing, the people, who it hits. And it's just remembering to change things like a chemistry experiment, as some Ovens would say. You know, one thing at a time.
100%, man. This is one of the biggest keys, because I see it in every single human being that has a business. And I remember you even talked about it in the beginning, where you tried, for example, I remember you tried the podcast strategy, and it worked for you. When
Yeah.
it stopped working, you changed everything. And this is not you, only
No.
me. I remember the first time I owned an agency, a cold email for me worked, but not ideally. And the first time that I almost had a client, when I had a cold email being sent out, and then he canceled, I'm like, the entire cold email doesn't work. Without realizing that the majority of the times everything works, it's just small tweaks that will make it work better or fix it. When it comes to your offer, the entire idea that we realized is that a couple of words, and your keywords were overthinking and self-sabotage. That's it.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's those small tweaks that we need to take a look at.
Yeah. I mean, I've tried a lot of things, you know, over the. I think I'm going into my 5th year now. You know, when we talked about it earlier on, but the podcasts will wear me out. It takes a lot, unless you outsource it all. You know, obviously, it can be done. But at that time, I was just starting out. It was a lot of work, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't want a lot of work. I want to do what I love. I want to market efficiently. I don't want to be doing 12 hours a day marketing, and I wanted to attract. And I know there's a big thing in the market. Can we just attract without outreach? But
Yep.
as we've talked about, I hate sales calls. I'm not interested in sales calls. So I'll jump on calls for like 20 minutes with people if they're interested. And it's not a sales call. It's like, do we resonate? Is this what you want to do? I don't jump on and go through a sales process. I'm not interested. But that's a good thing. That's how I've changed as well. I've never been desperate,
Mm.
you know, because I have other businesses as well. But I do this as something that I want to expand, and it's my love kind of thing. But I've never been desperate, but there was a desperate energy from trying.
Yeah, of course. If you try and you fail multiple times, it's this negative feedback loop from the in the mind. And keeping in mind, this is a good point. We didn't do any outreach, neither like long ass sales calls. Both of them, we didn't do that. For the SSD, which for a lot of people who don't know the SSD, majority of people, we only know the SSD. It's a daily client offer that we set up together. And for your higher ticket package too, pretty much everything was pull marketing. So we attracted people to us. We put out content. We put out offers publicly, and people came to us.
100%. You know, when honestly, I didn't even think it was possible. I mean, I've sold high ticket in the past, but it just wasn't. I was getting a lot of low ticket, you know, regular sessions as well, and it was up and down, up and down. There was no regularity to it, and it was hard flipping work. But these have all reached out from either a post, YouTube video, or but yeah, post. Reaching out from posts basically. Don't get me wrong, I've jumped on like a 20-minute call with a couple of them, but again, not a sales call. And they'd ask me about the work, and I'd be like, yeah, you know, this is what I do, this is how I do it. Are you interested? That was pretty much it. Like,
Beautiful.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh,
Beautiful, man.
yeah, and I think YouTube's going to be a game changer. And yeah,
It is.
obviously,
It's gonna be. You already achieved something that most people never achieve on YouTube.
no, I know. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, phenomenal, really. In my eyes, it felt really, really good. Very strange, how fast it grew. But like this month alone, the end of last month as well, I've had like 3 high ticket clients from it, and all I was doing is posting 2 videos a week. Got monetized, so I get a bit of money now through YouTube as well. And it's like, and now obviously now we're working on a different strategy where we're hammering YouTube basically at the minute. Um, yeah, blitzing, yeah. So see where that leads to. But like, it sort of opens your eyes. I was missing a lot of strategy, but it wasn't just strategy I was missing. I was missing like data, audience demographics, psychographic. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah, man. I think, and we're gonna give strong insights about content in a second. But I think that one of the things that you mentioned, you didn't believe that was possible. Um, Possibility expands, and this is what's cool about it. So the things that a lot of times when you hire a coach or when you hire a mentor or when you work with someone closely, uh, the number one thing that you can take away from that person isn't the thing itself. So isn't do this funnel, do this
Yeah,
strategy, set up this. It's much more about being with someone who sees possibilities that you don't see,
yeah.
who
Oh, yeah.
sees things that you cannot see. It's like uh, from the first day, I was like, hold on, your horses. I know where we're going. Stop, stop running. I know where we're going. Stop running. I know where we're going. Fast forward a couple of months later.
Yeah.
So yeah.
The funny thing is, I know for a fact I've been a good client and an absolute nightmare because
Oh no.
I'm the person who like takes action without thinking about it, which is good,
Yeah.
but sometimes it's a bit too much, too fast as well.
Yeah.
And you're like, stop, slow down.
And yeah, that's what's cool about working with someone one on one. Honestly, that's what's cool
Yeah,
about it. Not everyone has this privilege, but when you work with someone who gives attention to your work, sometimes I see your post, I'm like, no, no, stop, delete. But yeah, man, uh, you talked about content a lot, and I think the person watching this would like to know. So give us insights on content. Give me.
oh man.
I want to know.
Right.
How do you create content that converts, Mr. Chris?
Um, wow, where do I start? So I was when I look back at my old post now, I think, how did I actually even write like that? Like, did it even make any sense to me? So to other people who was reading it. So obviously, there's better structure to content.
Yeah.
There's showing people transformations through structure. There's connecting to people with emotion because
Mm.
we sell through emotion. We don't sell through logic, as we've talked about a lot. Um, there's obviously AI hasn't produced all my content by any means, but it's helped me figure out what works and what doesn't much faster than I could have ever. It's pulled on data. It's pulled
The
on,
content.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, and all that's been game changing because like when I first came to you, for example, I had like 300 clients. I had 300 client calls. I didn't have questionnaire for every single one of them, but I had a data for a lot of them. And you made me sit and go through as many as I could and use the data that I already had. And I'd never even considered it before. So through that data, we could then literally pinpoint our clients' pain points, what they were stuck with, where they wanted to go, what they ate every morning, what they wanted to do in 5 years' time. And you don't get me wrong, it's been trial and error. This wasn't me write a post and the next day I made £1,000 every day. that would be lovely. But I've made a lot of money through it by posting, reiterating, posting. Did this work? Yes, great. No, I'm going to change it. Again, following the process. But AI came where we needed lots of data fast.
Yeah. This is why, man, this is why a lot of people talk about AI. They talk about like strategies and all of those external shallow stuff without realizing that all of them work. Without the proper foundations, none of them would work. So I think the big shift with you was just you had the foundations, you didn't see them, and we were able to just build them.
Yeah, 100%. And when I came to you, I was hoping you didn't say, right, we need to reach out to 100 clients every day. Because yes, yeah, I know, exactly. And yes, I'm not saying if I reached out to 100 people every day, I might sell 2 more packages. I have no time to reach out to 100 people a day. I'm not interested in reaching out to 100 people a day. I couldn't think of anything worse. So to be able to have a quick message with somebody or a 20-minute phone call with somebody is much better in my eyes than all that absolute nonsense. And yes, it might work for some people. I'm not saying it never works, but not for me. Not for me. Not at all.
Not for the people that join my world. Even I don't like that.
Yeah.
So would you say like the biggest insight for you with content is that creating content with proper data rather than a guessing game is the biggest insight, or anything else? And please don't hesitate. If there's anything else, let the watcher know. Let the watcher pick it up. And if that's it, that's it.
Yes, but 100% data. Yeah, you need that definitely. A lot of posts have to be emotionally resonant. Not every post, because we post for different reasons at different times, but emotionally resonant helps connect. Maybe I'm talking about my past and what I've been through to show that it's possible or you can change. And those posts help the reader think, oh yeah, I'm there, I'm doing that, I'm struggling, I can't do that. And it's like a connection forms rather than me just lecturing someone. Yes.
Okay.
Some
Keep
posts
on going.
some posts might be logical. Some posts might be like a testimonial. What we did. This is what we did. This is the emotions we went through. But emotional resonance is, and it doesn't have to be negative. It doesn't. Well, what we found is it's probably good not to be negative a lot of the time.
Emotions and content too, knowing which one to trigger.
Yes, 100%. And sometimes it's about success and who you can become and what you're going to be doing and what you're dreaming of and what your goals are. Rather than making people feel like shit all the time, which is not good.
This is something that we worked on with is the feelings behind your work, not just putting out stuff online. And I think if I could summarize a couple of things that you said into one word, or 2 words, it's posting with intention. So knowing the intention behind every single post, knowing the intention behind every single offer, even like, do you remember the SSD post when you put it out? It's like, we know exactly where this is taking people to. The daily client offer, we know exactly where this is taking people to. Like everything has a proper intention. We know which one is going to get a lot of eyeballs. We know which one is going to convert people. We know how it's going to make people feel. And it's kind of the sense of control over you know what to do, you know how to do it. And this control, I like this word. A lot of people hate it, but I'm going to be very transparent with my words. It's kind of this way of manipulating how people perceive you at the same time. Manipulating how people feel about you, because at the end of the day, there's something that I always say, and you can take a note about that, the watcher and Chris, which is if you do not tell people how they should perceive you, they will create their own perception. And most times, their own perception doesn't fit your offer, doesn't get them to buy from you. So
No.
this is kind of a small insight that is pretty cool too.
Yeah, I mean, I worked massively on that, how I'm perceived online, and it's not an act. It's not like, look at me, look what I'm doing. None of
Yeah.
that at all. It might. I'm not saying people don't take it like that. You know, some people might see it as that, but I'm doing it to show that there's lots of things I don't know about in life, and there's some things that I'm very good at. And what I'm very good at, I want people to know so I can help them.
Yeah.
And if I'm perceived in a good way, I can help them faster. If I'm perceived negatively, I can't. It is that simple.
Yeah, very, very powerful, man. So, I have a couple of ways that I want to take this conversation. So I'm gonna kind of put titles and we're gonna go through it. And the first thing that I want to go into is offers a little bit. The second thing that I'm gonna go into after it is personal energy and personal lifestyle, how you changed as a person from the inside out. Because quick note on this. Energy attracts energy in a lot of ways. And this is some of the work that you do personally too. But something that I realized and that I picked up about you, and I have it as a note on my phone, which
Yeah.
is what I felt from you is that when you started making money, when you started generating clients, your energy shifted, and this energy is getting you more people.
Yeah.
And this energy is getting you more people interested in your work, and it's like kind of this magnetism effect. But we'll get to it in a second. First, when it comes to offers, because a lot of people struggle with offers, what are some of your biggest insights on offers?
Okay. A few things. And I can't remember how you put it. I can't remember the words
Your
you used.
word, your world.
Yeah.
Go.
So I needed to make my own. I knew I needed to. We decided that we needed to differentiate. We're sick of the noise online. Everyone's doing the same shit. You know, there's 1,000 hypnotherapists within 50 miles of me. I wasn't interested in that. I wanted to do something specific. So we needed to make a model of my work into an offer, which was my own, which pulled on all my experience, all my qualifications, all my experience with my clients I've had into a transformation program rather than I'm a hypnotherapist, I'm going to help you. Massive. The difference is night and day. Like, there is no comparison. That was my biggest learning, that when I had a start, a finish, this is the program I take you through, this is how I do it. And it sounds simple. It really sounds, when you say it like that, but it's really not. Not to get it right, anyway.
Yeah. Look, usually the simplest things in the world are the things that work. The simplest things in the world are the things that work. So what you've said is a simplification of something that we worked on called developing the unique mechanism. So what is your unique mechanism as a person, as a coach, as a consultant?
Yeah.
And if you can hear, this is Ted in the background right now. But this has been, in my opinion, one of the greatest needle movers for you and for a lot of people, which is once you can really hone into what makes you unique, makes you stand out, makes you different from the noise, and once you can also link that to your content, because linking your offer to your content and creating content out of your offer is what's working for you. So your YouTube videos aren't attracting people because you're like, okay, let's throw pasta at a wall and see what sticks. It's like, no, I have an offer and I'm going to reverse engineer it into content. This is also a pretty big thing. So what do you think about it?
I think you're totally right for a start. I think the smaller offer, what I do, the SSD, came from my knowledge from a bigger offer, and we just wanted a way to start to shift people without going into the big offer. But obviously people had the option, much lower ticket price, and I think YouTube helped with that because it gave us we found the keywords, we found sabotage, overthinking, and they resonate so much. So when I drop the offer on social media, and again, it's all organic. I don't do any ads or anything. It's sort of we knew we never 100% know, of course, but we knew it had a good chance of hitting the right people, and it did. Like, sold at 19 within 2 days, and yeah, it's a low ticket product. It's 50 quid, but it's a way into my world.
Yep.
It links from my main product, so people who enjoy it and want to work with me further can link to my main product. And it just, I spent too long wandering aimlessly.
Yeah.
Knowing I needed to do something, but I didn't know what. And it's like everything has gone like towards a point. It's started to converge together now.
Yeah, it's a beautiful point to be at, where you're like, I know what's gonna happen, predicting the future to a certain extent. طيب, tell us about what changed in you as a person, family. I remember you said a little bit, and I'm gonna reiterate the frustrations that you were at. I remember the emotional state. I remember the first time we had a call together, and even how you were talking and how you were speaking and the energy that you came from was completely different. So what changed with you? Maybe with your kids, if you would like to share about it. Maybe with your significant other. How did your energy change? What changed?
Oh man, I don't actually know where to start with it. Obviously, we know I started off frustrated. I would go home. Sorry, not go home. I would go to my girlfriend's house. We don't live together at the minute, and I would just rant, not at her, just out loud. Like, I was so frustrated, I didn't know what to do. And then, as it started to make sense, as I started to know exactly what I was doing, because I didn't before, and as the money started to come in, it's like, well, first of all, I just like internally, like, breathed out, relaxed, like this big, like, thank fuck, in a nutshell. And then when you don't get me wrong, I wasn't in survival mode.
Yeah, I know.
Money was fluctuating like constantly before. It gives you this like even more breathing space. And rather than, I've not looked at my bank in 3 months, like it. I think the biggest thing what's changed recently is I've started reinvesting in myself again. I've started doing what I want to do, which is book holidays. That's the entire thing I'm doing this for, to travel and book holidays.
You're unstoppable with the holidays this year. We're still in the middle of the year.
Yeah, I know. But it's like I can't even define it in words. It's really difficult to define. The shift is dramatic, 100%.
Yeah.
It's like I was confident before. I know my work inside out. I'm good at what I do. I help people. But like when people start paying you really regularly, it's like, oh, this is worth it. This is working. Just the change. Yeah. The change in how I felt, the change in how I act. Probably on the calls, like you say, you can tell because I'm just not bothered. I'm not saying to get stressed out, but I'm not reactive. I'm not chasing. Like last year before we'd met, I might be chasing customers. I might be out on messaging. I might be pulling my hair out. None of that shit. Literally none. And I'm not saying that I'm going to be sold out for the next year because I've got to work hard still. It's I'm not saying it's not hard work. I've got to work every day. Well, 5 days a week I work on it. So what? I enjoy it. You've got to put the work in to get the results, but that's the whole part of the game, isn't it?
Yeah, man. Yeah. And what changed with your kids? Do you feel that something changed too?
I think what made me the happiest this year is it's been 3 years since I took them away because my money was so volatile, and I started making some good money, and I could book, and I didn't have to worry about it. And I'm like, oh my, it's amazing, because my kids don't live with me, so I see them, but not as often as I like to see them. So being able to take them away for 2 weeks or 10 days, whatever it was, without having to worry about,
Finances.
yeah, in a nutshell, that was the happiest this year, because that's what, in my eyes, that's what it's all about at the end of the day.
Yeah, man. I'm someone who grew up without a father, so seeing this and knowing this is what makes it all worth it, in my opinion. At the end of the day, knowing that you can be the provider to your family at a certain point, but also having the confidence to take your family away, to travel with them, to show up for them fully. Maybe right now, I don't know when their birthday is, but when their birthday comes up, you can get them something that they have always wanted to a certain extent.
Yeah,
Um,
this is the
yeah,
thing. I've never worried about money. I'm not, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm no multimillionaire, but
yeah,
the thing is, I'm not particularly wanting to be. I want to earn enough money to have a really good life, travel, and eat well, and then be around loved ones. That's what I want to do.
yeah.
And like, just to know, and again, with kids, I don't like spoiling my kids, but just to know that I can get them a nice present rather than dig around for, like bargains or whatever. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It changes everything. It changes your life perception. It changes how you view the world. It changes how you feel every day. Really.
Man, this is very powerful. This is
Mm.
very powerful. Because at the same time, something that I wanted to talk to you about, so now I'm going to talk to you about it publicly, is that when you started shifting, you're starting to attract different opportunities,
Mm.
and even your messages on Telegram, and you're like, another person closed,
Yeah.
2,000 pounds, another person bought, and it's like you're neither too excited about it, which is very important. You can't be
Yes.
too highs and lows. You're
Yeah.
very stoic in how you're
Yeah.
presenting yourself. You're very stoic in how you're showing up. And I think this is also something that you're taking into your household. You're very stoic with how you're presenting yourself in your household. Um, so, what is the next step for you? Dubai? You want to go to Dubai?
So I've been trying for 3 years to do a public speaking. I do lots of seminars around the country, around the
Yeah.
UK. I do lots of keynote speeches about my subject, and my goal is to speak in Dubai. And
Okay.
I've got lots of contacts, and it's just not worked out yet. I've just not managed to do it yet. But I want to go to Dubai. The long term goal is to move abroad and get out of the UK. Lots of reasons behind that. Let the kids come over for 6 months at a time, have a nice diet, have a nice lifestyle. Is it going to be easy? Of course not. No, nothing's easy in life. You know, you got to put the work in. But like, visiting the nicer places. And Dubai is definitely one of them. Whether I end up living there, I don't know. But yeah,
Yeah, you just put it out there. So if you're watching and you can figure out a way to mastermind with Chris for a workshop in Dubai or whatever it is, please contact him. طيب, Chris, just to put the final touches, because we have a lot of insights during this call on offers, on content, on personal energy.
mm.
I'm gonna put you on the spot fundamentally here, which is two questions on the spot. You can take a second to think about them.
Mm.
The first question is, what did you learn that you didn't expect to learn?
Oh,
This is the first one.
jeez,
It's a hard one,
it is a hard one. I've learned so much, but in different areas. I've got to say, I've learned. I'm heavily into psychology. I'm heavily into the mind and subconscious, but I still learn a lot about customer psychodynamics and how people relate to your content, which I thought it was going to be about strategy, if I'm honest.
Mm.
And then when we moved into the psychology, that was an added bonus to me. So I guess that's the thing I learned that I wasn't expecting to learn as much about. 100%.
Okay, that's good, man.
Yeah.
Right. And the second question is, the average person who's going to be watching this video, and I'm making an assumption here, is going to be making $2,000-$3,000 in his business. Has some momentum, not the momentum that he wants to have. Has some frustrations around content, around offers, around the business overall, because they're working, they're showing up, they're doing everything, but the results aren't evident as they'd like them to be. As someone who has been there and as someone who has gotten out of there, what can you say to that person? Just as a final word of hope, encouragement, maybe. What
Oh
can you
my,
say to that person?
yeah. There's a few things. um,
Yeah. Take your time, really.
I listened to I heard a quote a few years ago, and I don't know why. It's only a small one. It's always stuck with me, and it gives me goosebumps every time I hear it. And the quote is, "No one's coming to save you. Get up." And it's like, yes, you've helped me, you've guided me, you've shown me what I didn't know, but I have to implement everything, and no one is going to come and do the work for you. And you might be working hard. So that's obviously one side of the coin. And the other side of the coin, which is so vitally important, is stop adding and start start subtracting. Start subtracting and focus.
Yep.
You have to go back to the basics, strip everything out, start again. And that doesn't mean start your business again from scratch. It means focus on one thing, get one thing working, and then start to expand. Stop trying to wear too many hats, but no one is going to come and do it for you. And you can be helped, you can be guided, you can be instructed. Amazing. I mean, it's changing my life. But you can't do the work for me either.
100%. 100%. Two very important points. And the second one, I love it because we've worked on it a lot. And this is kind of my core philosophy, which is have strong foundations and build up from there. Keep it basic, keep it simple. Nothing more, nothing less.
Honestly, if people knew, or people should know, how simple it is. Humans are very good at making the simple things complex. And it can be a funnel, if you want to. I even hate the word funnel. It can be three things. And we'll watch a program and we'll add 7 or 8 things into the journey. And we're just screwing ourselves over.
Every time.
Mm.
Every time. The monkey mind loves complexity.
Yeah.
طيب. A final note, guys, for the person who has watched till now with Chris, first things first, again, if you can make his dream come true of masterminding in Dubai, please reach out to Chris. Chris, where can they find you? It's Facebook, Chris Knight.
Yeah, Facebook, Chris Knight. You'll see my profile picture. LinkedIn is Coach Chris Knight. Email is info@traumahypnosis.com.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna give your personal one. I'm like, wait, we're gonna have to blur this out. Okay, great. The second thing is, I know Chris wouldn't mind about this. If you have generally any questions that you would like someone who has been through it to just reply to you, give you his insights, also message Chris. Something that has saved me personally in my journey is rather than speaking with people who are teaching the thing, I spoke with people who went through the thing, and they guided me, they gave me advice, they told me who to listen to, who to not listen to. So if you want to speak to someone who can kind of give you a completely different perspective than me, even a business coach and a client acquisition consultant. Speak with Chris. I think he's not gonna mind it. Hopefully, Chris. But also, if you want to follow him on YouTube, he has a pretty cool channel. It's again Coach Chris Knight or Chris Knight.
Chris Knight Coaching, I think it's on there.
Awesome, man. So, Chris, I'll see you tomorrow on our call.
Yeah.
Please, for the person who's watching, take notes and implement. Everything that we talked about is just added noise if you don't implement. And Chris, if you have anything just final to say, if not, we'll just cut it off there.
No, I want to say publicly say thank you for the work that you've done with me. I know I've not been easy. I have been easy in one sense and not easy in another sense. And I think I know I've not really touched on it, but the reason why I chose to work with you is you stood out in the noise. You know, and we talked about noise briefly, and that's what intrigued me. And you'll always remember the yellow post-it note story. You know, you put a post on, and I scribbled it out, and I put a yellow post-it note on my screen before we'd even talked, and then you'd obviously were speaking my language by the data that you had done over the years, and it just resonated. And obviously the rest is like history. But yeah, no, it's been a journey.
Can you realize something, which is the same way that I got you to work with me, I taught you to get other people to work with you, and it's working like magic. So
yeah, I mean, yeah.
Awesome, Chris. Tell you, man. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yep. No problem. Cheers, man.
See you, man. Bye.
Bye.